So yesterday my war on weeds came to an unexpected halt. The whole handle broke off. Now I don't know if this can be welded, because it kind of looks like cast. I'm not sure. But welding is the best idea that I have. There's no room for bracing it. But first I will have to remove these plastic bits and maybe the cables. I don't know what I should do. Take this all off so I can weld it indoors, or bring the welder outside and try to weld it while this is still held together with the bracket. Yeah, I guess I'm going to take it off because it's rather windy, and I kinda hate welding outdoors when the wind is blowing hard. And of course the height adjustment mechanism is in the way. And it looks like I'll have to remove that as well. Great. Come on. Got it. I guess I should do a spark test. See if this is really cast iron. Just a few weeks ago I installed this tie wrap and this bolt here because well, the whole handlebar came loose. And I guess at the time this bracket was already halfway broken, but I never saw it. So I fixed it with a tie wrap. I would have used duct tape if I had it, or just a piece of string, but a tie wrap is easier. Alright, let's go inside. Well, I stuck part of the bracket in the vise, and here's the other half. It looks like it's not a clean break. This half here, it lines up nicely, that half doesn't. So I'm thinking this side was already broken and the other half just snapped off. I am pretty sure that this is cast iron, but let's do a spark test just for fun. Huh, that's actually sparklier than I expected. Maybe I can weld this. And we'll also grind a bit off the other half to create a bit of a groove. I should probably remove some paint, because if I've learned one thing about welding, cleaning up is the most important part of the job. So I cleaned up the brake and made a bit of a V-groove, and I'm using this vice grip to keep the parts together. I don't think these parts have to be lined up perfectly, but I will tack weld it and then take the part to the mower and test fit it. Alright, let's try and weld this thing. Maybe I'll get lucky, but I don't expect a miracle.
Here goes nothing.
Well, that's a good start. Huh. Alright, I'll take it out of the vise and test fit it. Here's a look at the other side of the workpiece. And I just test fitted this on the mower. And I think it's close enough. It should probably fit, but I will have to grind off a little bit of this welding blob. But that can be done later. So next I'm going to weld the other side. And after that I'm going to try and weld the whole crack. It's time for round 2. Hopefully this is also going to work out just as good. I think that's perfect. So that second weld on the other side also looks fine. Very good for my low standards. So now I'm going to weld in the rest of the crack. Here we go. Lots of weld spatter, but it looks good. I'm always amazed by how much welding material is put on the workpiece with a welder like mine. Alright, now I will leave this to cool, and then I'll grind off this blob on the side, and then I can put the lawnmower back together. After removing a bit of material on this side, I test fitted the bracket on the mower, and I noticed there's a lot of room on this side. As you can see, there's plenty of room for a little reinforcement patch, because I prefer the other side to break before the one that I'm repairing. I just need to keep away from this bolt hole, and then it should be okay. At some point I expect this bracket will break again, probably next to the welded crack, because that is where the material will be weak. So I think I'm going to install a patch here, a little piece of metal, and that I will weld in place. Hopefully the whole thing will become stronger. Well, I just prepared this little patch, and I'm trying to avoid these bends here. So let's try and weld this in place, probably at a lower welder setting. I don't think that weld is going to do it. So I stuck the workpiece in the vise to keep it from moving. Hopefully this will be easier to do now. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's better than my usual welding crap. After repositioning the workpiece, let's continue this shit show. Man, there's so much glare inside the helmet. Well, that's better than the other side. I'm thinking I still have the welder set to high. But yeah, this should probably be strong enough. So after a bit of wire wheeling, I think this is a very reasonable result for an amateur like me. I wouldn't have been able to do this last year, that's for sure. I think this weld looks like it's only stuck to the patch and not to the broken bracket. So I have decided to weld over this once again. I've set the welder to a lower setting, so let's try this again. And you gotta be so quick, and I'm not really quick enough to do this job. And I don't see it. There's too much glare inside the helmet. Well, I'm going to leave it like this. It's good enough. But it will probably break at some point. Let's let this cool down for a bit, and then I will reinstall this on the lawnmower. Here's a look at the final result. And I'm not planning to paint this. I'm going to leave it just like it is, because I'm pretty sure this will break long before it has rusted through. Hopefully this will still fit and I don't have to grind off a whole lot of material. But it looks good. There really should be a washer here. I'll get one. The sun started to shine. Hopefully later today I can finish mowing the lawn. And here's a look from the other side. It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, this will work. Reinstalling this height adjustment mechanism is turning out to be a bit of a nightmare. So I removed or disconnected all of this linkage, and now the lawnmower is a real low rider, which isn't a good thing, although I never use this height adjustment mechanism. So I will curse a few more times and try and get this back in place. Fuck. Well, I managed to get the height adjustment back together, but of course something broke. This fastener here that is keeping things together, it is broken, and on the front there was an E-clip, and that is also no longer usable. What spare E-clips I got, but I don't have a spare one of these. So I will have to do the same as I did here. Drill a little hole, put some washers on the little axle here, and put in a little self-tapper, and that should hold things together. So I drilled a little 2.5 millimeter hole, and I have tried to make some thread, but because this wheel is in the way, I cannot really use my so I'm carefully trying to screw in this little screw. Hopefully it's not going to break off. That's probably good enough. A washer, another one, and one with a smaller hole, just like with the other linkage joint. So, a little bit tighter, and of course, well, good enough. It will not come off. Always extra work when you're trying to fix something. And of course, it's starting to rain. Alright, and why is this screw not fitting? So, I'll continue this tomorrow, because, well, it's raining, so I won't be doing any lawn mowing today. So yesterday I tried to mow the lawn, but the grass was still too wet, and it kept clogging up the machine. And as you can see, my repair held up okay, and actually the whole handlebar is a lot stronger now. It is easier to maneuver the lower around trees and such. But I'm also going to replace this knob with a carriage bolt, just like I did on the other side, because this thing keeps spinning and I'm not able to tighten it up properly. And I think if I remove this thing and replace it with a bolt, it will stiffen up the handlebar even more. Got it. I never adjust the height of the handlebar, so I don't really need these knobs. Alright, I'm going to get a carriage bolt. This bracket has a square hole, so it's kind of weird that the original bolt kept turning. Good, it's long enough. Perfect. And now I can finish the rest of the lawn mowing season. It's getting harder and harder to start this lawnmower. Well, that's the end of this shit show.